In our next story, a romantic spa weekend in Calistoga turns hot and dirty. Please welcome Haley Caldwell with a pink stone.
All right, how's everyone doing? Wow, that was so sad. How is everyone doing? All right, a huge round of applause for everyone that's already told their story because this is some hard work. So a huge congrats to you guys. All right, so when I graduated college, I was a spry 22 years old, and I got an apartment with my best friend in San Francisco in an apartment complex in the fancy pants part of Soma. It had a gym, it had a pool, it had free yoga on the weekends. Naturally, neither of us could afford it, so we shared a room, and I slept on the floor on a futon from the 80s that I borrowed from my parents. So we were having a lot of fun going out and exploring the city and getting to know new people, and I was casually dating, sometimes a few guys at one time because I was young and excited to be in the city, and I didn't take myself too seriously. So I was also meeting a lot of new friends because I grew up in the area, so I had a lot of existing friend group in the area, and I started to spend quite a bit more time with one man friend in particular who was a friend of one of my close friends. And before I knew it, which was completely unexpected to me, we started upon the path of sweet, sweet romance. So after a couple of weeks dating, it was going to the place of I was calling him my boyfriend, and I was in a real life adult relationship. And I had convinced him enough that I too was an adult to the point that he invited me away for the weekend in Calistoga. And at this point, I have never been away with a partner, so I pack about a week's worth of clothes. I had workout clothes, I had dresses, cocktail and casual, because he let me know the activities of the weekend was a surprise. And he was an adult. Like, he had all these stories from his travels. He had stories of his previous jobs, plural. And he had his own car, and he had his own place with a backyard. You just had to go up the stairs to the bathroom in his parents' apartment if you had to pee. Got it. So me, on the other hand, I was headed out to my first real big kid job at a software company in Marin. And I headed out every morning on my little red bicycle that I had gotten as a Christmas present when I was 9. I was wearing hand-me-down clothes from my mother, who let me know that none of my existing wardrobe was professional enough. So, at this point, I'm like, nice work, Haley, for bagging this real-life adult. So we're on our way to Calistoga. And we get there, we check out the hotel, and then we have sex, check out the hotel, and shortly after, he says to me that I have 15 minutes to get ready for our surprise. And I'm thinking, in what world am I going to be getting dressed in 15 minutes? And he sees the look of panic on my face, and he says that the yoga pants that I was wearing in the car was a perfectly fine outfit. And I'm thinking, what the hell kind of surprise is this? So we head out in the car, we head outside of Calistoga about 5-10 minutes, and we get to a building with no immediately obnoxious features, and we head up the stairs, and we arrive in a place, and I notice that this may be the one place that I'm not going to be fooling anyone that I'm in fact a child hanging out in a 22-year-old adult body, a spa. So we enter, and the front desk manager greets us in her spa voice and asks us, "Do you all have a reservation?" And my boyfriend at this point takes control, and he starts whispering something with her, and I'm greeted with some water with some green crap floating in it, and I'm trying to listen to what's going on with my boyfriend. I'm able to take my ear long enough out of that damn cucumber in my water to hear deluxe package. And at this point, I should mention that I don't do deluxe unless it's a hamburger. I played hockey in high school. I ran the 400-meter relay with a stress fracture. I don't remember the last time that I've gotten a manicure. I think my 8th grade graduation maybe, and the last time I had gotten a massage was never, after I got a gift certificate from my parents on my birthday and completely forgot it in a drawer. So at this point, we are now swept up by a young male spa attendant to help us to the first room, and we get there, and there is a mud bath. And I don't know, for anyone that hasn't been in a couple's mud bath, this is an L shape, and the attendant points to some floaty-looking type kickboards at either end, and he lets us know that that's where we are to put our heads, and then our feet will meet in the middle. And he goes through a few instructions, of course, in the spa voice. And he lets us know that the bottom is very hot, so make sure not to touch your feet there. And once you get settled, please make sure to cover your privates, and I'll be back in with a cool washcloth and to do your facial. So I have a lot of questions, including why he felt like he had to mention to cover our privates. And I guess I just limit my questions to one to him, which is, I'm sorry, how am I supposed to float in the mud without touching the bottom? To which he assures me that the mud is so thick that it prevents you from sinking to the bottom. And I'm thinking, wow, this sounds so relaxing, thank you. So he leaves us to be, and my boyfriend starts to derobe. I am still at this point trying to wrap my head around how people actually pay money to sit inside of liquid dirt. And he's already getting into the mud when I really try and pick up the pace at this point, and I put my leg in, and I realize I have severely underestimated the heat, the temperature coming off of this mud. So my boyfriend, meanwhile, is already in the mud, and I'm thinking, all right, Haley, we've got to switch up this strategy here. So I think that it's a better idea to put either leg on the sides of the mud bath, and then suspend myself like a crab on top of the mud, so that I go butt first, and the weight of my own body will just sink right in. And I get about one butt cheek to the mud, and I realize that I cannot do this. So I tell my boyfriend that I'm struggling, like he can already tell, and he tries to lighten the mood since he's already in the mud at this point and can't help me by sticking out just his penis outside of the mud. So now I'm struggling and laughing hysterically when we hear a knock, knock at the door, and the spa attendant's ready for us. And I have about 1 second before I am yelling, "We're not ready!" Because I'm imagining the scene that we have now created. My boyfriend, head and penis, all ablaze, and myself, naked as a crab, straddling this mud bath, and I'm mortified without him even seeing us. So he assures us that he will return in a few minutes, and It's go time, so I've got to do this. So I do it. I take a deep breath. I sink right into the mud. It is so hot. I'm shimmying myself into the mud like I'm supposed to. And of course, in the process, hit my foot right on the bottom, and it is hot. I got, mud and sticks up my butt crack. I'm having a really hard time. I do my best to cover my privates, and a few minutes later, I now take this as the cue that we're supposed to be silent and relaxing. So for what seems like an eternity, the spa attendant comes back, like really double checks that we are ready to go, peeks his head, are you guys okay? So he comes in, he starts to put the cool washcloth on our forehead and gives my boyfriend a facial, and then starts with mine, but goes much quicker, thank goodness. And he lets us know that he'll be back in about 15 or 20 minutes. So this is the point where he leaves. I'm doing my best to relax, mud, sticks, rocks up my butt, and I look over at my boyfriend with his nice new facial, and he turns to me and he goes, "Hey, babe, your tit's sticking out." And I look down, and a tiny pink stone is hanging out on top of the mud, which, as I move, starts to move with it, and I take about 2 or 3 seconds before I realize that's my own hard nipple. So at this point, I have now realized that I have completely disregarded our spa attendant's advice and burned the crap out of my foot. I have given my boyfriend a real treat, naked, looking like a crab on top of this mud bath, and exposed myself to him not as a delicate flower, but as a true contender for Naked and Afraid, and blatantly disregarded the advice that our poor spa friend gave us in the beginning to cover our privates.